Okay, another challenge I face and I've been facing is with our business here is staffing. So, once you become established and you start to have your things in place and you want to start, one of the biggest challenges you face, and the diasporans, not specifically, but all business owners face, is staffing, and how you get a good staff and where you get them from and how to organize them and put people in place. That takes time to learn. What would be most effective is if you can have a human resource manager, preferably a Ghanaian resource manager, to help you with the interaction between the staff and the management, because that sometimes becomes an issue. What normally is the case is small businesses can't really afford to have a human resource manager. My own self, with my mother and myself, our experiences, we were the human resource manager and everybody else included. So we did the hiring, the training, and all of those things. So what I learned, and even what I was taught from other Ghanaian business owners and managers about how to group people. One of the biggest things that you learn when you come to Ghana, or maybe any African nation, is that there are different ethnic groups, and many of the ethnic groups, some they have a history. Some get along, some don't get along. Some have stereotypes of good work ethic, and others have stereotypes of being lazy. But none is. They are just stereotypes, and everybody and every people with their own different types of people. People are people. So depending on the situation or the time in a person's life, how they may be able to respond to a working circumstance. So one thing I learned, I was taught some years ago. I was collecting stones, collecting stones for a sister's project in Vihangra. She was building this huge foundation, and she wanted 2 feet stone down in the ground and 2 feet up above the ground. And it was supposed to be boulders. So this is like boulders. So this is what the contractor came to me, and my mother was overseeing the contract. He came to me, and we decided that I would take on part of that contract and begin to collect the stone and pack them in my Kia truck and bring them to the work site. So I hired some guys to dig the stone and move the stone into the truck and then move it to the area. It was a very labor-intensive work. Some people got injured, and I carry some of the stone. It's not an easy job. You had to dig it out and all that. And the Kia truck really was never the same again after that. But since we had that opportunity to do that subcontracting, what I wind up doing was hiring 2 sets of guys to collect the stones. And one group was from a village right down the road, which is in a group, the Akumu. And then there was another group that was from the opposite direction, and they happen to be Eways. And there's some stereotypes between those two groups about some people work hard, some people don't work hard. So I began to use the two and see which one could be the most effective. It was cost effective to have 2 to make the project go faster. So then I just kind of made it competitive between the 2. But there was one group where the brother happened to be in a con in Ewe. He was a friend of mine that I befriended, a young brother, and he was, I was trying to organize the guys, and he was explaining to me on how to organize the young men and how to pick out a leader among the young men so that they will follow him, and I will then be in charge of, managing directly through one person. So, that became a huge turning point in my experience working with uh, working with the, the young men in my area. That little small tidbit of information really began to affect how I was able to manage, and it helped me to manage better. I then began to learn through that, and as I began to grow in hiring more people and also managing more people, that it works better when you mix ethnic groups in the workforce, so that you have a diverse workplace. And I'm a English mainly person, so it helps when I can hear everything that's going on in my business. So when it's a mixed, people are more prone to use English, though they are, everybody's more comfortable speaking the local language. But when you have rival ethnic groups, then they kind of, I don't know, they haven't, you have to experience it for yourself to see that some people, the way that some of the groups get along and don't get along. So when I had the computer school, I had one teacher that was an Akan brother and another one that was an Ewe brother. And they used to tell on each other all the time. And it really worked out because, I knew my things weren't being stolen. I learned that from Muhammad Ali, actually. Muhammad Ali is the one I heard on Johnny Carson, asked about how he felt about the Israeli and Palestine. He said, "Oh man, I have we have an account, two accounts. One is Israeli, one is a Palestinian." He said they double check each other. That way he come out right, because they ain't never gonna be one. They're not going to work together very well. So these are some of the strategies that you can use when you are setting up your businesses, and also hiring, so that but many of these things you won't learn until you're on the ground and see some of the interactions between the people and hear some of the nuances of the people on the ground here. Some of the other issues that you deal with staffing are people coming in late to work, and that being an issue. You have to know how to handle those type of people. Here we come from a very time-oriented place in America, or from the West, where if you come late 3-4 times, you're fired. So here you kind of have to know how to work with people and take your time for people. Rewards and holidays, monthly pay versus hourly pay, which is a huge one. Many of us think that we coming from an hourly wage world. You think that in Africa it's not an hourly wage world. It's a day rate and a monthly pay. And I myself have adapted bi-weekly pay, so that it's easy on my accounts to pay my staff bi-weekly. But it would be very difficult if I was to come here. We came here trying to pay people hourly rate. We could have never gotten our business off the ground. These are some of the benefits to coming to Africa, or coming to countries like this and doing a business, so that you can get yourself off the ground and become established. One way to find out what you charge, what laborers can charge you, is to go to the local district assembly and go to the workforce, and they can tell you what average pay, average salary, base pay and base salary should be, minimum wage, and all those sorts of things. You can find out, so that you don't have to really haggle, or you really know how to haggle with different workers on labor that they may be coming to do. For me, I have a set rate for what I pay some of my staff. That's how I've learned to adjust to it. The holidays and end of the year, these are some of the things that when you have staff that works and loyal, I take care of my staff at the end of the year. I try to plan a little party for everybody, and acknowledge people when they get a chance. But a lot of Ghanaians are not used to that, so you have to kind of and I'm talking on a small business scale. I'm not talking of the big businesses that are established and doing more of that. I'm talking about these small mom and pop shops like myself. So when we you're dealing with a different level of employee. I hope to graduate my staff into a more professional, level of staffing. That's what we all are working toward. And there are different levels of different types, not levels, different types of management styles that will be successful here. So you have to take time and know what type of style best will suit the people here and yourself, so that you have a productive team.